Hello, everyone.
Can you hear me?
I can barely hear you, Jamie.
Okay.
Nope, can't hear anybody. Can you hear me, Jamie? Hi, can you hear me? I cannot hear you.
Hello?
Oh, I can hear Soren.
Hi, Deb.
Hi, Soren. Jamie, I can't hear you.
I see you. I see you talking, but I don't hear you. Hi, Nathan.
Good
Got your
morning or evening or good time of day.
You look pretty comfy.
Yeah, just hanging out on the couch. He's doing these things virtually from home is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet. We'll see, but I'm an in-person type of guy, but that's that hour of driving I don't have to do.
It is. It's definitely
Well, 2 hours for you at
comfy.
least.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Try going off and going onto your phone. Can you do it through your phone? That's what I have to do with my computer.
Well, Jamie, it said you were connecting, but you're also frozen up. Like your internet is mediocre.
That's typical.
I did a breather.
Hey, Krista, the link in our board books to join the meeting is invalid. So if you go into the email, I can get to it, but if I've tried to go through the board books and I was unable to.
Nathan or Laura, are you on the LC school?
Yep, that's me.
Can you fix that, please?
I can't fix the board books one. That one's Laura.
Is Laura on yet?
Not yet. I don't think so. Oh wait, she might have also signed in as Elsie's school. That other one might be her.
There's
Hi,
a
Deb, it's
way
good to see you.
to type in through board books. Oh,
Oh, I was just saying, hi, Deb, it's good to see you.
hi, I'm back.
There is a way. It's if you're like on the home page and you select the meeting and you don't go to the quick view, but you just say view meeting details, you can join the meeting from there too.
Oh. I do it on my phone and then I'm on my computer. It's easier for me.
I
Less
got you.
tech.
Yeah, no. I pulled the agenda up on my work computer and then threw my personal one up here. So same, no difference.
Laura, did you hear what Racine just said?
Yeah, I just resent to the board members the link again.
Yeah, but the problem is if the public goes to the homepage
Okay.
and that's an invalid link, like, yeah.
To the homepage of the board book.
I have no
Mhm.
idea. Racine, where did you find it at?
I'll send the link. Just 1 second. Hold on. Well, it might, I'm sending it from my board books, Laura, to your chat. Or to our chat. But it's the meeting under this, oh my goodness, the link.
Oh,
under
I
this
see
meeting.
it. I see it. Okay.
Hey, Jamie. Um,
Jamie's been having audio issues.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. I did not know that.
Which one?
Okay.
Because I went to the one on the homepage on the actual board books and it said invalid link. So that one needs to be updated.
You know, I always have the hardest finding the participants list on Zoom. I'm like, where is it?
And then the link in the meetings link in the email goes to a Google Meet link,
Mm-hmm.
which is clearly not.
That's
the
why,
one.
Laura, I had you resend it because on my calendar it was a Google Meet link.
Okay.
So
Well,
we'll
I
get that
just-
cleaned up for the next meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
what
I
if-
just fixed it, so hopefully, I think I fixed it.
Do you want me to? I can log out and try to log back in on that if that works, because we're still
Yeah,
waiting for Russ.
I will too, real.
So do that really quick.
Yep, it works.
Okay, good.
It worked. Yay. All right, Jamie, were you able? Oh, she's connecting. I won't ask her any questions yet.
Jamie was having trouble with audio and her picture was freezing up earlier. I think her internet connection is mediocre.
Yeah, hold on 1 second, actually, on that note. Okay, I just did the same thing where I said no Wi-Fi.
Jamie,
What if
hopefully,
Jamie
Jamie,
cuts
is
her
the bridge
video?
out this weekend on Deadwood Highway, Jamie and Soren? Did I read
They
that
s-
somewhere?
They said there's one lane at all times. And I sure hope there is because we're having a birthday party at the Grange and a ton of people are coming over the bridge. So it better be open.
If you guys don't mind, I just want to wait a few more minutes because I just texted Russ. Sorry, I don't know who I just
Speaking of
interrupted.
which, anybody wants to send their kid over to the Grange in the afternoon? There's a bouncy castle and a water slide and food.
Well, I might not be sending kids. I might just come.
You
Like,
can
let's
come
be
too.
honest.
Adults are fine. There's shade, there's food. There's people.
Well, there's no bridge. You guys are gonna have to open the cafe and work it. Sorry.
Well, you can come over to the Grange. The cafe
I'll
can
come-
stay shut.
Have to go to the cafe and work it.
If the bridge is shut, you'll have to walk.
Hey, that's a bad idea.
Then just stop at the Grange.
There you go. See?
We've got food for you.
Okay.
You can throw some water balloons.
Only if they get to land at you.
It's probably gonna happen. I mean,
I
I
do
can
know.
get in
you're
bouncy
good.
castle with the water slide if I empty all my pockets. I
Yeah.
barely squeeze under the weight limit.
Probably
Like,
can't be
you
wet
might be able
then.
to also,
Oh, maybe.
maybe.
All right. I'm gonna give Russ just a few more minutes. I texted him, but I haven't gotten a response, so that's okay.
Can you hear me now?
Looks good on there.
I had to switch to my phone. I do not know what is happening with my computer.
Well, your phone seems to be working fine.
Well, thank you. About time.
Feel off, I hope. It says it's off.
Windows likes to do this thing after updates sometimes where it disables the microphone either in Google or in Zoom. And you have to go through this whole convoluted run through a whole bunch of different settings to turn it back on. It's a really annoying thing. So that might be what
Maybe you can help me with that. Quite
Yeah,
possibly, because I'm
um,
pretty sure I used this one last time.
It sounds about right. I'll be out there on, let's see, I talked to Keenan today and he said the power should be back on like late Friday. So I'll be out there Tuesday.
Okay,
If you want to bring your laptop by, I can take a look.
okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Nathan to the rescue.
Nathan,
Um,
can you make sure you make me a co-host as well? Because I need to share something.
Yeah, everybody has sharing and video and muting and unmuting and all that stuff. I figured since our board meetings aren't circuses anymore, that we don't really need to do the super hardcore lockdown stuff anymore.
Nathan, when I put share screen, it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Well, oh, look at that.
And-
There we go.
and Ru-
Okay,
and
now
Russ-
it's fixed.
Thank you.
Russ is on his way. So.
Well, and Nathan, this is a web camera microphone. Would it do the same thing?
It can be. Basically, what Windows does is it disables the ability of that particular program to use microphones and cameras and things like that.
But why would the camera work and not the microphone?
I've found it generally tends to be microphone specific. I don't
Even
know
if
why.
it's in the same device?
Huh? Yeah,
Even if
though
it's within the
thing.
same,
Yep.
okay,
Yeah.
It's a
interesting.
different, I
Yeah.
think it's a different driver, isn't it, Nathan?
If they're in the same device, generally no. It's
Yeah, I know nothing.
it's just something within the audio settings that Windows just likes to disable the microphone as an input device.
I got you.
So just as a complicating factor, during the whole thing where Jamie could be seen but not heard, I heard a couple garbled syllables for just a moment from her. Just
It might
It
not.
might be better
mean-
that way sometimes, guys.
like that may complicate your solution. Just
It may not be the Windows thing. It could be her internet connection. It could be that the microphone on the camera has gone out. You know,
Brand new.
That needs an update.
but yeah, bring the camera along too. We can test it out and see if we can figure out what the issue is.
Okay.
Hello?
All right, I'm heading up to put the kiddo to bed. You guys
Wait, don't
should
go
be
anywhere,
all-
Nathan. It says that Russ says he's being oh my gosh.
He's in the waiting room.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be.
Where oh sorry. What link did you use? Just out of curiosity. Okay, it's not on Google Meets. If you go to the email or go to the board books is probably easiest. You're fine.
Or to the email Laura sent out about 6 o'clock. But yeah, there's no waiting room turned on. Okay, there he is.
Sorry, guys.
Good night, Nathan.
Yeah, so you guys should be all
Oh.
set. If anything gets weird, I'll leave this here. You can holler. My wife will come up and get me.
Okay, sounds good.
Have fun.
Thank you. Russ, thank you for bringing that beautiful baby on camera. That's perfect. Let's go ahead and call this meeting to order at 7:10 p.m. and we will do a flag salute. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, wonderful. Any amendments that we want to make to the agenda this evening?
Didn't
All
we
right,
want to?
I was just waiting for anybody else that had any extra ones. I do want to make one amendment to the agenda.
I will admit that I
Sorry. Go ahead, Soren, I'm sorry.
just will admit that I don't have board books up right now. Like I usually like follow along on the screen, and now I'm looking at your faces instead. Just so you're in charge.
Okay,
The agenda.
well, we'll talk through and we can pivot through anything that we need to and show anything that we need. Right,
Do you want
Kristen?
me to share my agenda? I
Yeah,
can
that'd
just
be
share it.
kind of nice.
Okay, let me do that right now.
It is a little bit nice since we're all virtual. Thank
Okay.
you.
There you go.
All right. And then, okay, so the amendment I was going to make to the agenda was to add an item in our new business to discuss, to have discussions regarding the cafeteria construction and location. Are
So
there
that would
any-
be 5D, right?
5D, yes.
So Laura, can you make sure you update that, please?
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah,
Are
thank
there
you.
any objections to that?
No.
No.
Okay. I can
No.
see all of the more board members now. I just got us in the right space. So, Russ, Deb, any objections to that?
No, sorry, I was muted. But no, I don't.
All right, then
Good.
we'll go ahead and approve the agenda with the amendments made. And we'll move right into consent agenda. Is there a motion to consider for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to consider the consent agenda as written.
I'll
To approve?
second.
To approve the consent agenda?
Oh, approve, sorry.
Just
Sorry.
No, that's perfect. All right, so Russ, motion to approve, Deb seconded. Any discussion from the group? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Laura, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Sorry, mute's on one side, I'm on the other. Okay, let's take roll. Soren,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Russ,
Yes,
Deb,
Yes.
Ristine.
Yes. All right, thank you. Do we have any patron comments, Laura?
No.
All right, I don't see that we have, hold on, let me just make sure I get the participants up. I don't see anybody in the lobby with their hands up. All right. Then let's move into the reports. First up, Miss Neerot on the superintendent report.
Just a lot of construction happening. If you've driven past the campus, you will see it's busy pretty much every day. Like Nathan said, we should have power up. We were hoping Wednesday, by latest will be Friday. I have to see what I wrote. Dawn, we're starting our gym floor redo next Monday. Again, that'll be 2 weeks where that gym will be completely not able to be walked through. We're moving along schedule. I know Chris and Nancy will talk about it when we get to them, but I'm just very thankful for Chris and Nancy and for Todd Construction, and really getting us on schedule and making sure that we know where things are at. And that the right questions are being asked. Human resources and payroll, Don and Roxy have been busting their behinds to get everything set up for the start of school, payroll, contracts, just making sure that we have those processes in place. We're finishing state reporting. Most of it's done. Now we have to go back and verify. Laura and Don have been working really hard on that. The contract for the seismic grant has been completely executed between us and the state. So we're going to start moving along. There's not a lot of conversations about what exactly the seismic grant will do because they have plans in place. This first round is the gym and the office addition next to it. So that will happen next summer. And then ZCS is also working on the next application to see if we could get a second round. And that more than likely will be the high school side. And then the third round would be the elementary side. So they're working on the next 2 application rounds in hopes that we would be able to apply and be successful in getting them. The kitchen concept and budgets. Again, we'll talk about later in the meeting, working with Soderstrom and IMS to really look at the needs of our cafeteria and kitchen. And really the reason we're doing this, in my opinion, is easier to go out, like I said before, it's easier to go out for grants if you actually know how much things cost versus being like, hey, we need a kitchen. We don't know how much it costs. So could you just give us money? And then Keenan and his crew have been working really super hard. Keenan's replaced windows and doors in the kindergarten, 2nd grade classrooms. Custodial staff's moved classrooms. They're actually taking lockers. They've taken lockers out of the high school hallway. Ones that we aren't going to use, they're repainting and redoing some of the floor. My goal next year, not my goal, every student's going to have an assigned locker next year, but we counted, there's like 180 lockers total in the 7 through 12 hallway. We don't have 180 kids. So we're taking out 80 of them. I think we're going to reuse them in the CTE building and in the locker rooms. And then we're going to put more sitting space for the kids. That's something they actually asked for, is more places in the hallway to be able to sit and congregate. We've been going through, they've been cleaning actually a lot. They have cleaned completely underneath the grandstands and emptied them completely. It took 2 big dumpsters full of stuff they've gotten rid of, and they're working on a 3rd. We've also been working with the county. I don't know if you've all seen, but as you drove down to the football field this winter, there was a big patch of grass that couldn't be mowed because there was a water pipe that had burst, and Keenan didn't know where to shut off the water pipe. So we didn't want to drive a lawnmower or anything over the top of it just in case we had a geyser, or try to fix it because we didn't know where the shut off was. So he tried to work with the county all winter, and finally I got a hold of the assistant county administrator and we got it shut off. So now we're working on getting that area dried out. So during football season, when people drive, it's not a marsh. And then we've also purchased a new lawnmower. Our lawnmower was literally, you can see it was on the surplus list. Our lawnmower kept breaking, and it's so old and the parts are becoming so obsolete that we were having to actually get them from back east. And so Don and Keenan went over his budget, and we had enough money in there to purchase a brand new mower for us. So we've been using it. It's easier to keep the lawn under control. So remember that the building is closed and through the 9th. If you guys need to get in or somebody needs to get in, we will be back in the office. The district office will be back in next Monday, but the main building is closed. And then just a heads up for you all to put on your calendar, our staff in service is August 19th through the 21st. So I'm going to send out a schedule for everybody. We are going to have some continental breakfasts and a district barbecue, lunch barbecue, and an ice cream social, which you all are all more than welcome to come at any time, to come to any event that we're having. So I will give you all that schedule once I get it.
All right. Thank you very much. Any questions?
So are the grounds closed as well, Krista, for the next couple of weeks?
No, the grounds are fine. There's a couple of times we had to close them because of construction materials there, but we're keeping the grounds open.
Okay.
So the playground is still accessible, and I've asked the janitorial staff to make sure that the gates are always open so people can use our playground.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, let's move into our financial reports. Mr. Staley? Or
Hi.
Chris, oh, there he is. Okay, he is there
Yeah, I
tonight.
came in. Hey, Krista, could you open up
Oh,
the
wait.
financial
Hold on a
statements?
second. Hold on. Jamie, did you have a question or were you just waving?
Hello.
Okay, just making sure. Sorry, Don, go ahead.
No problem. We're closing the year out and working hard to close one year out and start the other year. If you go to the second page, I hope you read the summary.
Page right here, Don, or do you want me to?
Page 3. Page 3 is the most important one.
Okay.
During the budget development process, I said we were going to have approximately 6.7 million as an ending cash, and right now we're at 6,696,991. So that's pretty close. And we budgeted 600,000, and then during the budget process, I'll bring to the board about moving some of those dollars over to the capital projects. The appropriations are in there, so we can work on the cafeteria area. Other than that, Bren and Roxy and I are closing one year out and starting a new year. And we had our first payroll done this week. And as you know, LBL used to do it, and we are doing it internally this year. So I think it's moving smoothly and getting everything set up. The next page is where grants are, working with Krista and that planning, because a lot of the grants close on September 30th. So we still have 3 months in the first month of school to spend those dollars. We're going to make sure we're not losing any, and we'll still go through this year and make adjustments on the availability dollars and what staff hours can qualify to use those. Like in early literacy, you'll see $6,600 there. No, we're not giving that money back. There's time that we can reclassify to recapture it in the general fund. If you move down a little closer down to the bottom, you'll see nutrition there, and you budgeted 120 some thousand to transfer over, and really we're only going to need about 66,000, which is a good plus there. Other than that, the grants are no different from last year. But as you know, during the budget process, a lot of these grants are going to be a lot less. There's going to be less funding from the state due to the ADM drop. Next page is your debt service. No change, 26,000 there, and that's what we budgeted. Next page, I know this is kind of redundant, is your capital projects. These are the dollars that are reserved, and the expenditures in there are to replace the windows at the at the school. And what we did record in there is the interest that earned during the year. Now, that has not been a practice prior to me coming, but those dollars are in the LGIP, and they're really dollars that should be directed to that project. Dollars are supposed to follow where they're earned. They shouldn't have been going to the general fund. Next page. This is your bond and awesome. You'll see there a balance of $1,559,000. No, we don't have that kind of money. It's and Chris and Nancy will go over that. That's the balance as of June 30th. Not the a lot of those dollars have already been encumbered in July. So I see around 120,000. Chris and Nancy and I monitor those closely. But you'll notice that we recorded $88,000 worth of interest in there this year. That were dollars that were earned by those funds that were in the LGIP. Last, I think that's it. Oh, I'll never let this one go. I'll talk about the food service every time. So these are where we're at right now. We did our last claim for food service, and that should be coming in here in July. I feel good about these numbers. Then if you go on the next page, this is the per cost that you spent. It's costing about $1.85 to $2 per meal. That's what you're subsidizing it from the general fund. Other than that, for your information, we're going through the audit right now, the interim part of the audit where they're testing all the capital, all the expenditures and payroll. They're doing that this week. Hopefully we get the audit done much earlier. We're doing it now in July, so they'll probably come back in October when everything's closed and audit the final statements. Any questions?
I don't have any. Does anybody else have any questions?
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you. All right, we'll move into the bond report. Chris and Nancy, are you here this evening?
We are. How's everybody doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good, good. All right, so hopefully you have our report and the budget summary and the budget details. Krista already gave a nice little summary. I'll just add a little detail to it. We actually have 5 projects going on right now that we're managing, including the kitchen concept. So we'll talk about that a little later. CTE building, as she says right now, they've been having some bumps with a couple of the subcontractors and suppliers, but fortunately none of them are critical path. Doors, finishing some metal building trim, things like that. But everything that is critical path on the schedule is looking really good. So they're on track to finish August 19th as planned. So move-in with the shop equipment will be that following week. Let's see. Oh, and I will go ahead and comment on the budget for that right now. Don had said there's 120,000 in contingency, as he mentioned. A lot of that has come from the way that he's handling the interest on those bond funds. And so doing really well on that. We've got about 10,000 that's committed of that so far from some elements that have come up from the jurisdiction. So we're still holding on 110,000 of contingency that has not been committed yet. A couple little things coming up, but really nothing significant that we know of. As far as the work that CB is finishing this summer, the electrical upgrade, as Krista said, is going to be re-energized. The majority of the school, there's actually going to be some small areas, and Krista, we need to chat about some of the details, but all the important areas, district, office, some of the other things, everything that we really need is going to be energized this week, get us back going again. They'll still have a couple of weeks worth of work to wrap up what they're doing. And also with the HVAC, they've got the rooftop unit, the gym ducting complete. So all the hardware and equipment is installed. This week they're doing startup. They're doing balancing of that equipment in the gym. And then we have a test and balance that will come in Friday, Saturday and finish that up. And then our commissioning agent, who is the third-party independent engineer out of Portland, will come in who will validate that everything they've done has been installed correctly. And they'll start their work in August and they'll finish. But systems will be operational for school, which will be very nice for staff and students. The fourth thing is the seismic renovations. So we're well into design at this point, shooting for 50% design completion by the end of September. And ZCS, our engineer, along with Soderstrom, the architect, are doing well there. And then we're also in the middle of contractor selection. And so we put out a RFP for that, and we have a pre-meeting to invite contractors to the school tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And so we've had an interest from half a dozen different contractors who've requested that. And that's a mandatory meeting. So they'll show up, we'll get their proposals back on the 13th of August, and then we'll have a committee evaluate that, interview firms, pick them. And I think as we described in our special meeting, they'll actually get on board in September. And at the end of 50% design, they'll get engaged. They'll work with us all the way through until we're finished with design in February, permits, bidding, and then we will be in construction. The plan is to start construction in May. Let's see. And then the only other thing is the kitchen concepts. I know we're going to talk details on that. I do want to just say we are into conceptual design, and our goal, hopefully, is that we can finish a good estimate relatively soon and come up with a move forward into design so that we can be doing construction next summer. That would be the goal, is by the time, hopefully, that building or whatever renovations are needed there, that could be available for the following school year. I think that's it in a nutshell. Does anybody have any questions about that or any of the budget details? No.
Can't see all of us, but I think everybody's off of mute, so I think we're good. Chris, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Into our new business. So come July, we do a couple standard things every year, which the first would be to nominate a board chair and vice chair. So we will start with a board chair. Are there nominations for a board chair?
Well, I would like to make a nomination. So I think, Christine, you've done a fantastic job leading us. I also think maybe we should give you a little break and let Soren give it a try. So I think I would like to nominate Soren as our chair to share the responsibilities.
All right, great. Soren, do you have any statements? Do you have anything you want to share in that space?
Should we have a second before we have discussion?
This is nomination, actually. So you
Okay.
can say whatever you want, and then we'll call for a motion.
Okay, so
Well, yeah.
okay. I will say that I am happy to accept the responsibility. If everyone were to agree that they want me to do this, I would do my best job. However, I will say that I was kind of anticipating waiting one more year. Originally, my thoughts were that we should have leadership changes during an election year. And then I thought about it a little bit more and said, wait, that doesn't make any sense because the new people don't know who they want to have as our leaders. So it would make sense to have it in non-election years. But again, I was kind of hoping to have another year under my belt before taking a chair position. But again, if we can get, if everyone wants to agree that they want me to do it, I'm happy to do it and I will do my best job.
Great. I am also, Deb, I appreciate that and I appreciate your feedback. I am willing to nominate myself again to do board chair duties. I do think it's important to have some consistency, and so I would like to put my name in there for nomination as well. I think much along with what Soren shared, the board gets to vote on that, so we'll let that be to the board. Are there any other nominations? All right, with that, we can consider a motion.
So I'll make the motion to nominate and approve Soren as a chair.
Okay, there's a nomination for Soren to take the, sorry, to take the chair space. Is there a second? So this is one of those awkward moments. I'm just gonna say it. If there isn't a second, then the motion does die on the floor.
Well, I would second the motion. Sorry, I was on mute. If Soren wants
Okay.
to do it, I mean, that sounds kind of half in, half out. So I feel Soren's explanation there because I wouldn't want to do it right now myself. I wouldn't even consider it because I still feel I'm too new. But as far as it goes, I would be happy to second the nomination of Soren to board chair, pending a board conversation and approval.
Okay, so I'm gonna say that there's a motion, and then Russ, I'm gonna say that you're seconding the motion. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, so I'll second the motion. I just think it might require a little more conversation here.
Yeah. All right, so let's move right in. That's a great point. So let's move right into discussion. Deb, you made the motion, so you're up first for discussion.
Okay, not that I don't think you've done a fantastic job, because I think you've been an amazing leader. I just don't think it's just your responsibility to take on that role. I think it's important that we all have different views, and I think it's important that we see other and share the responsibility. I personally am unable at this time to even offer any of that kind of help, but I think it's important to let other people put their hard work in there too. And I know Soren does have a lot of time, and he does a fantastic job as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you guys
Russ,
heard what I
oh.
said already, and again, I would be happy to do it, and I would do my best, and I think I could do a reasonable job of it, but I think I could probably do a better job of it if I had a little bit more time under my belt. But again, I do sympathize with Deb's statement that I'd like everybody have a shot. Like, I don't want to like sit here in the vice chair position and not like the next person have a shot at that either. I mean, I'd like to let everybody have a turn at the position at some point. That's just my
Thank
feeling
you.
on the issue. So
Yeah.
however it works out time-wise for everybody.
Russ, I saw you on mute, and you did
Yeah,
second.
I
So
will mention my name. So I'll just say that I think Soren would do a great job. Christine, sorry. Krista, Christine, it's all coming together. I think you've done a great job. I don't even really, I can't even fathom taking on that responsibility and how it pertains to your day-to-day schedule. Plus, I know you're on the small rural school board as well, the rural school boards. For me, Soren, like, you have my vote as a person, and your level of commitment for sure. But I also empathize because I've been overextended. I just resigned from my position in the Gleaners because I need more time for this personally. I want to grow and learn more about the school board and be dedicated to that role as well as my own personal life. So, when it comes down to it, I don't care about titles in my life. I care about the success of the organization. And what I would hope is that whoever is the board chair is the most geared toward the success of our school board and our forward direction as a board. I love our board. I think this has been an amazing year for me, learning and growing. I've grown to really respect and support all of you, which is why I would second Soren, not overstepping Racine or anyone else. I just think we have a very effective board, and I think probably anyone but me could be the board chair, vice chair. Please, no one nominate me for the vice chair. I don't want any more responsibility. But that's what I would say. I would support you, Soren, and I appreciate your honesty. If that honesty leans toward not doing it, I support that as well. And that's really a hard place because I don't really know how these nominations go very well, as in consideration and voting. I'd be interested to see how Soren voted for himself. That's what I'd be interested to see. So,
nothing like being put on the spot.
Yeah, I'm actually curious too. Do we vote
Whoops. Oh, sorry.
person? Do we have like I mean, it seems
It's a little bit cut out, Soren.
comfortable to do each person. I'm sorry. So I'm actually curious, like Russ says, about the procedure. If there's more than one nominee, do we vote yes or no on each person, or is it a ballot? It just seems I'm unclear on the way it runs.
So Jamie, I see your hand and just 1 second. So to give you that, Soren, so you are the motion is on the floor for you to take the chair position, and there's a second for that. Majority in this space, is what would rule that one way or the other. Does that answer that question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sorry, Jamie, I did see you. I apologize. Go ahead.
So my 2 cents is I have 100% faith in Soren as well, but I do hear him saying that he would really appreciate and respect one more year of training. So I would personally love to see this year dedicated as Racine working hand in hand in almost everything with Soren as one more year in the chair and vice chair positions to prep him for a transition such as that. So it's not from lack of faith. I think, like Russ said, I think every single one of us has the ability and the heart and the drive for the success of our organization and would do an outstanding job. But a lot of us are new, and Deb said she didn't have the time. I would like to respect that and give Soren an adequate training opportunity.
Okay. I don't know what comments I have. Soren, I have had a great working relationship with you, and I've enjoyed working with you wholeheartedly, and I have confidence in you as well. So I guess this is one of those situations that I think is almost difficult. There's a worse situation than having no good candidates, and it's having really good candidates overall. And I agree with Jamie's sentiment as well. Each one of us is a leader in our own and would do a phenomenal job in any leadership space on this board. So we have the best of the worst options, in my opinion. And I'm going to leave that there. And I guess I'll call for a second rounded discussion. So that's to you, Deb.
So I would just like to say, like Soren said, next year you're going to have some new people because I won't be redoing my seat. And so you will have some new people coming in and they're not going to know, who to work with. So I think my personal, if we have Soren as chair and Christine, you as the vice chair, you still can work together and help each other make that adjustment, and give him that learning opportunity this year, with your strength, because you have the strength and knowledge to help him, and the rest of us all working together, we can back him as well. So I think it would be a great year for him to learn. And that's kind of why I was nominating him, because I think sharing the responsibility is also important. So that's just my 2 cents.
Appreciate that, Deb. Russ, do you have any second comments you want to make?
No, I don't really have anything further. Thank you.
Yes, Soren.
Yeah, again, I'm kind of stuck here because, again, I'm willing to do it and I would do my best job, and I think I could do a pretty good job. I guess the caveat is that I really want everyone to get a chance to be in some, what do we call it, referred to as a leadership position. And if I were to be the chair, I would want Racine to be the vice chair for at least the first year, which would mean somebody else is left out of that position for a moment. But
Soren, I love your heart.
I don't have anything to add. I'm sorry. Jamie, you go ahead first, though.
I don't have anything to add either, other than Soren, I love your heart.
I'm just going to say, I'm going to second Jamie again. Man, everything at the tail end, you guys have said it all. So, all right, we've done 2 rounds of discussion. I think this will be a hard vote, but I'm going to go ahead and ask Laura to please do a roll call vote.
Okay, let's take a vote. Deb?
Yes.
Jamie?
No.
Russ?
Yes.
Soren?
abstain.
Oh.
And Racine?
I'm gonna say no, which means Soren, you cannot abstain.
Soren can abstain. That just means the motion dies and you have to redo it.
Yeah,
I thought if there wasn't an ethical conflict that it had, that we had to request the,
Well,
You know, we
would-
can-
I
we can
think
let the motion die. That's.
Yeah,
can
I
look
don't
it up really
believe
quick,
so.
actually.
Yeah, I don't
he
believe it.
doesn't
Soren
want to
doesn't-
vote. If he doesn't want to vote, then I think it should die because that's his choice. I mean, I don't like you can't force someone to make a choice
Mhm.
on themselves. I don't
Okay,
think.
cool.
So I'd like to make a motion of Christine as chair.
Hold on a
with-
second. Hold on 1 second.
she's gonna pull out the Robert's Rules of Order. Check
Well.
and see what we're supposed to do.
I don't think we should force you to vote if you're not comfortable.
I mean, I will. I was just pulling that out.
Sorry,
because
I
I've
just
seen it
wanna-
happen before.
Get us right.
You could vote
Yeah,
no
I
if
don't
you
believe
wanna
he,
do
I
it.
think he can abstain.
Okay, I just want to make sure if that's,
It's
if abstaining,
I mean, in the other piece, Soren, and just to throw this out, if you
kind of
want to vote, you
what I
can
would
vote
vote.
either way. You could also decline the position, even if, you know, like you said, I'm gonna vote no because I don't want to do it. I mean, that's the other piece, but I don't believe he does have to vote.
Well, while we're figuring out what the right way to go with this is, I will say if it were unanimous, I would have voted yes along with everybody else.
Mm.
That's all I have to say. I kind of like this to be unanimous,
Yeah, I understand.
which
that.
is tough.
Well, I think it's always tough to put yourself in or out, Soren. So I respect that. I feel that's a difficult.
We had so many unanimous votes this year.
Yeah. Well, I love you, brother.
Well, again, I know vote is only based on your desire of one more year of training. I get it. I feel that immensely.
sorry, almost there, guys.
So, you know, you're up next, right, Jimmy?
We'll see.
Laura, if you can look also, I just thought under, like, I know that under an ethics space, if we abstain, we can ask for the vote to take place. Even if there's a potential ethics violation. And so I'm not sure what this looks like. If I'm gonna be super honest. And I don't
What
wanna-
do you mean by a potential ethics violation? Can you be more
So like if
specific?
you have a split vote and there's a potential ethical conflict and
Mhm.
somebody abstains, we can say, well, it's a potential ethical violation, so you can vote on it. So I'm just curious when it looks at this. I mean, I'll support whatever, but I just want to follow the rules.
In what I just Googled really quick, it says, while it is the duty of every member to vote, a member can abstain since they cannot be compelled to vote.
There you go. Jamie wins the search for the Googling. I'm gonna give that to her. Okay,
Ama-
so then with that, then the motion does die.
Okay. I think this is the answer to yours, Christina. Says a member has an obligation to abstain if they have a direct personal interest in the matter that amounts to a legal conflict of interest.
Thank you. That's exactly where I was going.
Okay, so the motion died.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to make a new motion to have Christine as chair with dedicated training for the potential of incoming Soren Rounds as vice chair in future years, as his comfort level seems to indicate.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second? I will go ahead and second that.
Carry on.
All right, motion and second. Jamie, you're first up for discussion if there's any.
No discussion.
I have no discussion. Deb?
Nope.
Okay, Russ?
I don't know that we should couple the two in the nominations personally. I don't know that we shouldn't, but I don't know that I think it should be a nomination for the board chair, and then we should nominate the vice chair. That's how I think it should be, because I think we're tying two different things together here.
That's a really good point, Melissa, and actually you're spot on. We will nominate next for a vice chair. Once that's done. So good call out on that one, Russ.
Do you want me to amend my motion?
You will need to amend your motion.
Okay, I amend my motion to state
You could amend it
nominate
to vice chair.
Ristine as chair.
There's okay, so and then I can second that amended motion. Soren, anything that you want to throw in there with discussion?
No.
Oh, there.
I do
Great.
agree with what Russ said about not coupling the two, but I mean, you could say like as long as Christine is training this chair, whoever that may be, to take her position in the near future. I mean, that might be an appropriate part of the motion. It's not naming the name.
Though
but
you can't say
saying
as
as
the
long as
person to
she's
take
working
it.
on training.
You can't technically do it because you vote every year, so you can't technically say that the vice chair will automatically be the chair. So you have to have a motion for the chair and the vote, and then the motion for the vice chair.
Yeah, like anything can change over time.
Mhm.
Something that I think the board could change even, right? Like Deb said, if she doesn't run, there's new people. But oh baby.
Anything could
What's
happen.
interrupting you guys?
All right. I guess the only thing Jamie, is there anything you wanted to add?
Nope.
Okay. The only thing I would say is that regardless of what the outcome is, it does sound like this board as a whole is requesting maybe just more leadership mentoring in the board from the board chair in general. Is that a fair statement? Am I hearing that correctly?
I think that's a fair statement to prepare any of us for any transitional roles. With Deb's statement, not knowing, either way, what your stance is going to be upon re-election year. I think it's wise that we include adequate training for leadership advancement across the board.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to be honest. Like, I supported Soren as chair. I would support Jamie as vice chair. I look at it as like, I don't know what you do exactly in that role, but I think for learning and growing in leadership, if it pertains to getting people across the board, that's why I don't think we should have a carte blanche vote, because it's just not how it's intended. I think for me personally, I find it interesting because we're all equal voting board members. A title isn't anything more than a title. We all have 20% voting equity in this organization. So what happens is that extra burden of time and dedication to your role as a chair or vice chair, right? And that is what is paramount, okay? Me being honest, I can't afford that time. Although I know I probably have the intellect and talent and passion to do it, I can't afford that time. So, but what I see is, I think that we have very highly capable people to serve on the board, and it should never be a executive decision, right? It's always a group collective decision. So personally, I'm a little disheartened we don't have like I feel this contention somewhat, which we shouldn't, right? Because really this is just defined roles for a leader and a vice chair and a chair, which represent the board as a whole, right? It's not representing Ristine, it's not representing Soren, it's not representing Jamie or anyone, it's representing the board as a whole. So if we're representing the board as a whole, it shouldn't matter who the chair or vice chair is, as long as they're willing and able to do the job and they're willing to commit the extra time, energy it takes to perform those requirements. That's my position. I'm feeling a little bit of resistance for the first time in a year on the board voting for these positions, which is challenging for me. because I wouldn't expect that. I think if we all believe that anyone could do this, then we should all support anyone doing this. I think we're not really clearly saying what we're saying. I think we're being ambiguous. So that's what I have to say on that. I'm a little disheartened, but I still love you guys, all of you.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, the chair just runs the meetings, and the vice chair is there to run the meetings if the chair's not there, and there's no other power involved, just making sure the meetings run smoothly, and you sign some papers sometimes.
Well, and
mean,
I
that's
think they have
theoretically
a
the
more
rule, right?
intimate role with Krista. I think they have a more intimate role with certain things happening with the OSBA. That's my imagination now. I might be wrong because I've not been a chair or vice chair. I haven't, but what I'm imagining is there's more input into the board agenda and things like that happening. That's what I'm imagining. I'm imagining it would double or triple or quadruple the time that I currently put in to this, elected position. That's what I would imagine. I might be wrong, guys. You can correct me if I am. Soren, you might be right. I don't know. But I
Well,
believe
again, it's theoretically. I mean,
I believe
there are meetings
here
that
at my election, if I had been called to be board chair, I wouldn't have a clue what to do, not even how to run the meeting, not even how to legally handle, like I've used Ristine a lot to learn how to handle things that come my way from employees or people in the community, right? I trust the board chair for that. That's where I go. I think the board chair is really where the board goes for advice and for, questions, and to hope that they have the right answers. That's me. And I really believe Ristine has that. I don't believe that you don't. I believe, Soren, you could easily have that with your dedication and commitment to it. That's, I'm sure of it. I mean, you're a highly intellectual person. I'm sure it wouldn't be out of your grasp at all. So, but I just hope we just all come together here and make this a really warm feeling, because that's what our board is. We're a small community. We're a tight-knit board that we're all different, but I really respect all of you. I respect Deb. I think Deb's position is, I don't know how long, I don't know who was the board chair before Ristine, but I do understand Deb's position is if Ristine somehow isn't reelected next year and she's still the board chair, there'll be an automatic replacement, right? We can't assume anything. It's a publicly, voted on position. But that being said, I think probably Jamie is just as qualified to be a vice chair as Soren. And I think as a board, we should entertain that if we're talking about giving people a chance to serve in a leadership position. Anyway, back to Ristine. I'm sorry, I got a little.
I'd like to chime in and, in the basis that you stated that we are all capable, but you said yourself that that person has some knowledge. And I heard Soren say that he would prefer more time to learn and become familiar. And that's where I would be sitting as well, if I put myself into those shoes. That's the reason for my thing. I think we have Ristine for one more year, and we should utilize that space to continue to gain the knowledge that we've all gained over this last year into our next year, and be more adequately set up to fluidly move up into those positions versus stumbling. I guess I feel like I would be stumbling.
Yeah, I'm not to Ristine being the chair at all. I have no opposition to that. I think she's been a great chair. I guess my opposition is to the fact that I feel like there's this feeling of well, I mean, I don't know. I feel a little bit more contention than I normally do here. So maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Well, I wasn't saying that I didn't think Ristine was doing not a good job. She's done a fantastic job. I just was going to give her a break because, I mean, we all share the responsibilities on the board. As you said, we're all 20%, and Ristine puts a lot of time and effort into it. And sometimes just a break is what we need sometimes. So if that's not what she needs, then we'll keep her as our chair. So I just wanted her to not have to do a job that we all can do.
Yeah.
So it wasn't anything against Ristine because she's been fantastic.
Not at all, but hearing her nominate willing to step up and nominate herself. Seems like some pretty heavy commitment and obligation, you know, on her part. She's taking real personal ownership in that, so.
I'm staying silent for a second because there's a delay and I want Soren to be able to speak up if he has anything.
I just want to say I've been listening to Russ a lot, and I will say what I've heard makes a lot of sense. But we've been really lucky in that I don't think we've had many, if at all, if any, mixed votes until now. Since probably like one of my first 2 meetings, we had a lot of discussion and a mixed vote, and then since then we've been on the same page.
Yeah, I
Hearing
say
contention, but I think it's just
well, it's not
business.
maybe
It's just the first
contention.
time we happen to have.
I don't know that it's contention. Maybe it's just the fact that I think Christine has done a great job. And I think like when we did an evaluation, it's always like maybe someone feels challenged if someone selects someone else. I sure don't feel that way. I wouldn't say that voting in any other chair would diminish anything Christine has done or how I feel about her. I guess that's what I want to say. I don't think Deb does either. I wasn't meaning from that end. I just feel like we all need to get together, make a vote on this. I'm fine. I think we should carry forward with a vote for chair and then go to vice chair and then get this going. Oh, baby girl.
All right. With that, I will go ahead and ask Laura to do a roll call vote.
Okay, let's take a vote. Deb,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Russ,
Yes.
Soren,
Yes.
and Ristine.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm just going to side note that really quick to your point, Russ. I
That was-
appreciate you calling out the discussion. I will also say that I'm so proud that we get to have differing opinions in this board and be
Oh,
able to
yeah.
move forward. So
I
no,
think
I would just want, yeah. All right, nominations for vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Soren Rounds as vice chair.
All
I'll
right.
second.
Oh wait, let's do nominations first and then we'll go through a motion. Is that okay with you? That's how we'll do that one, Deb?
Yep.
All right. Soren, any statement on that nomination?
No, I'm happy to continue with this and move forward and learn as much as I can. With a eye
Okay.
toward the future. If
All right.
it should turn out that way.
Hold a medal claim.
Is there any other nominations to be heard?
Okay.
All right, then we'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to nominate Soren to stay as our vice chair.
All right, there's the motion. Is there a second?
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
Or you
Oh, I'm
can-
going to give that one to Russ. I heard his voice first. Deb motions, Russ seconds. Deb, you're first for discussion if you have any.
Nope, I think we've already beat this horse to death.
Russ,
Same.
Jamie,
Same.
I have none. Same. Soren, anything for you?
I don't have anything else to say.
All right. Laura,
Okay, let's vote. Jamie,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Russ,
Yes.
Ristine,
yes.
and Soren.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. All right. We're going to move to the board calendar. And before we make a motion on this board calendar, because what we'll do is we'll motion, second, discuss, and then depending on discussion, we can amend. Or whatever that looks like. What I will say, Deb and I don't think have ever seen a change to this calendar, well, at least as long as I have worked with Deb on the board. And one thing I wanted to point out, and one thing that we had kind of talked about on the side was this is our calendar. This isn't, we don't have to set a calendar as a board to meet anybody's kind of specifications except for what works for the 5 of us. So I just wanted to give that caveat before we heard a motion regarding this board calendar.
May I speak first?
Let's do a motion. And do you want to do a motion?
Well,
We can always amend it too upon discussion.
So remember, this is the second Thursday of every month. So that's what this is reflecting.
right,
Yes,
see,
thank
and
you.
discuss changing it to a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So do we need to accept the but I don't want to accept the calendar because they're the wrong days.
So Deb, what you could do is you could make if you wanted to, you could make a motion for the day of the week, like first, second, third day of the week. And the time you wanted that you thought it was best. And then we can jump into that second and discussion and amendments and things like that.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to change our board meeting nights to a Tuesday at 7 o'clock.
All right,
That's
there's a
my-
motion. There's a motion to change the calendar for board meetings to, did you say the second Tuesday?
I mean, I sent an
Second
email
Tuesday
back.
at
go
7 PM. Is there a motion? Or sorry, is there a second?
Oh, hold on.
I'll second.
Okay, so let's start with that discussion. Go ahead, Deb, you kick us off.
So I'm open to Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesdays. I just am really gotten busy on Thursdays with work. And so I would love to try it another day. If it works, another day works best for everybody else.
Okay, Soren?
I would if it's, I don't know if this is, Debbie said some other day other than Thursday. What about Wednesday? Just my kid has karate on
I will
Tuesdays.
say that I personally sent Laura an email as well that the second and fourth Thursdays are pretty much like the worst day of the month for me because I'm in surgery all day in Salem every second and fourth Thursday. I could have done the
Okay.
first and third Thursday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday easier, but my schedule changes a lot, so I wasn't going to cry. I just know that, the second and fourth Thursdays are pretty set in stone for me to be in Salem in surgery all day. And it makes it a really long day for me. But that being said, if Deb wanted to go to Tuesdays, I would be fine with going to a Tuesday instead of a Thursday in my point of the discussion, or a Wednesday. Both of those are better days for me, but that could change. Like I have things change all the time. So I don't want to do it because of me, but if there's a viable reason to move it to another day, I'm open to that discussion.
So a Tuesday,
So,
so
okay, Soren?
I think
I
what
think he might be
so though-
frozen a little bit.
Oh yeah,
I was just gonna say Russ's.
go ahead, Soren.
I was just gonna say that Russ's ability to be there is a viable reason to change it.
Yeah, and the only problem for me is I have like 3 new surgeons starting, and I mean another day could be worse. So it's hard, but I will say that this has been a year where you guys have seen my Thursdays when I get stretched to the wire. However, I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't make it just on me. But a Wednesday or Tuesday, either way would be fine. I think for Deb's perspective, I think maybe she's also thinking because of her schedule at the restaurant and other things, what she's going to do. But I'm open to whatever discussion we need to do.
Okay. Jamie, do you have any input that you wanted to share at this time?
I'm not necessarily particular on day of the week. I think with one meeting a month, it would be okay on a Wednesday even. I would prefer Monday or Tuesday. I would personally love to see a meeting time of 6 or 6:30. Personal preference. I did chime in with that, so just food for thought.
Well,
That's
I think
good thought,
the
Jamie.
thing you have to ask Krista on this is what it pertains to with school functions and things like that.
I will be honest with you. If you want my opinion, just to kind of weigh it in, I liked Thursdays at 7 because Fridays I didn't have to get up early to be with kids in front of my faces. So if we are going to change it to a different day, I would prefer 6 or 6:30 so that, there's been talk about wanting kids to come here. It might be easier to get kids at 6 because practice ends at 5:30. So if we
Yeah.
want to start having that, it's hard to get kids to go home and come back at 7. They're just not going to do that. And so my preference, this is me being selfish, is if we could do it at 6, because then I could get home at a decent hour and be able to turn around and come back. But if we really want to start having kids come, I think, or
And
teachers
there's
come to explain,
on-
we need to do it earlier.
on this schedule, I'd never be able to do 6 on second, fourth Thursday, or second Thursdays. It would be catastrophic.
Mhm.
I like
Okay,
the idea.
so- oh,
It's good for me.
So I took a couple notes. I want to kind of consolidate them before it sounds like we might have if Deb's up to it, might have some changes, but I want to, so here's what I heard. Second and fourth Tuesday are bad for Russ. Second and fourth Thursday, sorry. Tuesdays are bad for Soren. Deb said Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are much better for her. And then Jamie said Monday, Tuesday, but 6 p.m. Did I kind of summarize all those points really well?
Well done.
Okay. I'm also going to say that I don't like Tuesdays and Thursdays because they're game nights. So I'm being selfish with a kid, and 6 p.m. would be better. But I don't get, but the amount of, like, to that point, the amount of things that we juggle and things like that, I like the 6 p.m. time if we're going to move it earlier into the week also. And I didn't even think about the whole 5:30 time for end of practice, but I think that works great to have that student voice, which I think is something the board has been wanting to move towards. So
it sounds to me like not many people had issues with Mondays.
No, I don't have any. I work, just so you know, the first Monday of the month. So the
If we
second
went
great.
with second Monday, 6 o'clock, it
Well,
seems
we have
to.
a lot of holidays on Mondays we need to take into consideration. That's the
think-
bad thing for holidays. So, I mean, just throwing it out there.
We could do those on Wednesdays as an exception.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, for the public, is that okay? Like to have it on different days? I mean, because you have you have Memorial Day, Labor Day. Those are first Mondays or last Mondays or something. I don't know. Maybe the second Mondays are never bad. I don't know.
Deb, I
Probably.
kept seeing your window light up a little bit. Did you have something you wanted to add there?
I think Mondays are too busy of days for people because everybody's getting back to work, trying to get their schedule. And then you got Tuesday, Thursday, game days. I think Wednesday's a better day. Tuesday, Wednesday. That's my personal idea.
Wednesday,
I-
fire.
Yeah, Wednesdays are fire training. I will say again, I'm gonna just say this. I threw the Tuesday, Thursday thing. I shouldn't have even made that a weight. And I apologize for that. If it's a Tuesday, or I like right now we're doing second Thursdays. If we moved it to second Tuesdays at 6 p.m., the amount of things that we're able to juggle, I think, are outstanding. Oh, but Soren, you said Tuesdays were bad too.
So I can do it. It's not as awesome as a Wednesday, but I can do it.
What about like the third Tuesday? Soren, every Tuesday, do you have something? I mean, are we stuck
Every
on the
Tuesday,
second Tuesday?
Every Tuesday, Dimitri goes to karate, but I can be back in time for school board. I just have to jet it. It'll be fine.
I can't do third Tuesday.
can
I'm
do
so
second
sorry. I have
Tuesday.
roll caucus on third Tuesday.
So I think Tuesday, the second Tuesday, 6 o'clock, I think seems to work pretty
And
well.
Rashid been flexible with, if there's games and the majority of us are not going to be there, doing a one-off reschedule.
Totally agree with that. We've always been super good about that as a group. So, Deb, can you amend your motion? If that's, cause I heard you say something, but I was going to ask if you wanted to amend your motion.
I would like to amend my motion to change our calendar to the second Tuesday of every month at 6 o'clock.
All right.
I'll second.
And there's a second for that. I think we've discussed it.
Yeah.
That's what led to the amendment. So we'll go ahead and have Laura do a roll call vote.
Okay, let's do this. Soren, Soren?
Soren's frozen.
Okay, I think you might be
Yes.
frozen again. Deb,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Russ,
Yes.
Christine,
Yes.
Soren. He's still frozen.
Soren, just wait. He's frozen.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay,
there you go.
Thank you.
There he was.
Outstanding. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Deb, and thank you everybody for that conversation. And let's move into our annual organization. Again, these are just, I want to say the contracts we carry, but they're the agreements that we have for the people that we use. It names Ms. Nira as our CA, our Chief Administrative Officer, and as our district clerk, Mr. Staley as our Deputy Clerk and Business Manager. Again, it puts Kristen, the budget officer and custodian of funds, and the custodian of funds also includes Mr. Staley. And we have a couple of, I'm not going to read through all of them because we all have it here. I just, oh, and it's on the screen. Thanks, Kristen.
The only
I
thing that
wouldn't-
you guys would have to amend on this is you guys on the board meeting schedule, you would just have to do it as amended, and the amendment would be the second Tuesday at 6 p.m.
I was just going to ask that because I didn't know.
So you could just say as amended and
on
then,
that piece.
or I can redo it.
I will
Okay.
make a motion to approve the annual organizational resolution with the change of the board meetings being the second Tuesday at 6 p.m. as previously discussed.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Deb
All
can second.
right. Deb seconds. Any discussion? No. I'm just looking at faces now instead of calling on people, except for I can't see Soren. I don't hear any discussion, so we'll go ahead and vote.
Okay. Deb,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Russ,
Yes.
Soren, where'd he go? Christine,
Yes. Oh, there he is.
Soren,
Yes.
Oh,
thank you.
outstanding. Oh, and he put it in the chat. Good. Okay, so that's next is 5D. And this is, oh, I scrolled entirely too far. Sorry. 5D is the discussion of the cafeteria. And
Yeah, so-
I'm gonna hand that over to Kristen and Chris in case so they can give us an overview. And then I'm gonna actually ask if I'm not sure if there's a vote for this or if it's just discussion. I can't remember.
So I think this right here is kind of the layout, and we had talked a little bit, but I wanted to overview the discussion that we had yesterday. And Chris, please jump in as possible. There was conversations previously about, and this was before my time, about putting a kitchen in the boiler room, what is now the boiler room, and then the cafeteria in the shop room. I'm going to say that that is probably not a viable option because of cost of renovation. And we know that if we have to update the shop, that we have to move it to seismic code. And the boiler is going to have the boiler room will have lots of abatement, and we don't know what that cost would end up being. And so the two options, viable options that Chris and I've talked about that we could possibly look at doing a kitchen concept would be extending the current kitchen out and the classroom next door and making that into one big area with a cafeteria, the classroom being the cafeteria, an extension out of about a 1,300 square foot addition. And then the kitchen, we would have to put in the walk-in freezer and the walk-in fridge, or if it would cost about the same price to really just build a separate building. It wouldn't be about 2,500 square feet. I think, and Chris, tell me if I'm wrong, we could probably do it at about 1,600 to 1,700 square feet. The cost, they think for either one would be approximately $2 million.
Yeah, and yes, thank you, Crystal. Let me jump in on that. So there were
Yes.
three options, and Deb, I know you had voiced at our last hearing about that idea of the original, going way back to the concept when this bond was passed, of putting it down in the shop and the boiler room. But as Krista mentioned, there's some major structural issues down there. We don't have an architect's estimate on that. I would actually put that cost as about 2.5 million to do that. And I think that there are some issues with that. There was going to be a hallway that was going to be added to get kids from the elementary school down to that area. And I've seen that concept from the original architect, and there's some issues with that as well. So we have some major issues with that location. The second location shown in orange there, that was talked about originally, and I want to add this to the discussion for those that heard the meeting earlier this week. The architect mentioned, but really didn't emphasize a key element, and that is a significant expansion to the existing school building triggers fire code. What that means is not just fire alarm, but we would probably have to put fire sprinklers throughout the whole building, which would be prohibitive in cost. Or when we do build that in the area of this new kitchen and whatever's attached, we would have to put firewalls, fire doors, fire envelope all the way around that. That's usually a fire separation that goes through the roof up 4 feet high. Again, very expensive. I think their estimate of 2 million is low in that case. So I think that that was something that we didn't anticipate until they took a look at that concept, and I think that's prohibitive. Now, the idea of putting a new building up in that blue area, just when that idea came up, there's a lot of advantages to that were brought forward, that even if it was the same cost as the area in the orange expanding the existing kitchen, there's a lot of advantages in that we can get students from both the high school and the elementary school, and we can have walkways that they can go up there. They can have nice access to the playground. Plus, it's a standalone building that, with or without this resilience hub grant, it could be serving the community and continue to serve the needs of the school. So, and in addition, I think the architect's estimate is high on it. As Krista said, they're saying 2,500 square feet. That's probably a little generous. Maybe it's 2,000 square feet. The current CTE building is costing us $420 a square foot for construction. Let's make that say 500 a square foot, because there are some additional utilities and restrooms and things like that. So that's about $1 million just for that new building and construction. Then if we add all the other design and all the other costs, permitting and everything goes with that, plus some equipment costs for new kitchen equipment, I think we're talking about 1.5 as a budget. That's what I would put on there with contingencies right now. So I would say, for the board's consideration, I don't believe that the kitchen cafeteria going in the old boiler room shop is a viable option at all for major structural issues. I think there's serious issues with the orange location. Oops, turned that off, sorry. And I think it could be done if that was really a favored location, but I haven't heard that from anybody. Boy, we'd really love to keep it there. I think the new building addition up on the north side is really the best and the least cost option.
In one of the major, and if you guys haven't seen it, Soren asked a question. He said, so has anybody spoken to Eric about this building? And I said, no, because we came up with the idea on Wednesday. Because if you actually look at how this area in here is starting to develop, there's more space in here. And they also put in kind of a driveway, like a delivery driveway. So it would actually be easier to get the delivery trucks in and get the things to the kitchen versus having the delivery truck come into this little tiny parking lot. Another thought would be that had been brought up is to actually have the delivery trucks come down to the track and then come out this way. And Jamie had said, hopefully that those people could actually push uphill well. So this actually, I think, opens up a little bit more for us to be a little bit easier to get goods in and out of our cafeteria. And be able to deliver things. Yes, Jamie.
I think that separate building is also beneficial for the resiliency hub option, but Chris, did Nancy happen to run by my question that I sent to her today about the potential of extending our current CTE building to accommodate that?
Yes, we did. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that, Jamie?
Would that help reduce any cost?
No, it would actually make it more expensive.
Okay, okay. I figured
Yeah,
you would know right off the top of your head. Okay.
Yeah, there's some elements to that building. We've got the electrical panels that are mounted on that side of the building and other things that we'd have to remove, and it actually wouldn't reduce costs in any way to tack it on. It'd probably cost a little more.
Okay.
And the good spot here is I know in the original plans that there had been a talk about like a senior quad. Is that, am I saying that correctly? Or like
Yeah.
It was like a graduation plaza.
there you go. You could actually still do something along those lines, and you could make it to where that area could be cemented in. You would have an outdoor seating, so we could put picnic tables out there so kids could have inside and outside. It would be, you know, if we hosted a community event, it would actually be able to, you know, in the summers, it would be able to host, it would be a bigger spot. So,
Okay.
My husband mentioned when I was bouncing
Yeah.
some ideas
It
off
was
of him.
brown velvet that they were supposed to pull.
That's what you wanted?
Yeah.
Okay, they didn't pull that, so I'll scrap that.
Oh, don't worry.
Oh,
oh, okay. Go ahead,
Russ, you're not
Jamie.
on mute.
Can't hear you.
So
Hold on, hold on.
a thing that Richard had an idea too, when I mentioned the idea of a new building, is with
I just
placing
wanna
it.
make
where-
sure- Yeah, it should have been the brown
Alright.
velvet if they have it in stock. If they don't have it in stock, let me know.
Hey, Russ, you're not
Yeah,
on mute.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. So he mentioned that potentially could open up some avenues for some more space and potentially expanding concession options during sporting events.
I mean, there's a lot I think that we could do. You are right. I think, you know, there's a challenge that they said takes up field play space. We have plenty of field and play space. I think instead of trying to shove everything back in here, why aren't we using kind of the land we already have? So I don't disagree with you, Jamie. I think there is more of a spot to be able to grow even concessions and things like that.
Should we maybe consider in this as well, our lovely Oregon weather, and maybe use this as an opportunity to cover the pathways to the CTE and potentially a new building?
We
Yeah,
could
that
look
would
at that. I
be
think we'd have to
better.
look at cost. I don't disagree with you on that either.
Can I ask just a quick question, just for all of us to be on the same page? At the end of this discussion tonight, Chris, what do you need from the board? Is this letting us know and asking questions, or do you need a vote at the end about how to move forward?
What we'd really like to do is give the architect direction of how to focus their effort for conceptual design. Again, with the goal of completing conceptual design fairly quickly, bringing that information back to the board for a decision going forward with approving design fees to get this. But our ultimate goal is we'd like to build something so that it's ready next summer. If we're talking a new building, that means probably getting design done this year. So we're already under the gun. So what we'd like to do is focus their effort is what I'd like to do.
Well, and I think too, we have to get a number, because it might not even be able to do it next summer because we don't have the money. So we have to get some sort of decision on what you want, what the direction the board wants to go. So the architect can say, here's what we designed. This is what we believe the total cost would be. So then I can start going out and, you know, Chris and I can work on the resiliency grant, and I can go to the Ford Family Foundation or Benton Community Foundation and say, hey, this is what we have. How can we get some money for this piece? As you all saw in our coffers, we do have some money in there as well. We're thinking we're going to use about 1.2 million out of the 6.7, which leaves us with 5.5. So the board could say, we're willing to put $1 million towards this project. And if it's another $1 million, we have to go out and find the grant. So those are the types of things we have to really move on, because it would be great if we could get it moving next summer, but we have to have the money for it. So we
Yeah,
got to start
right.
going for the money.
Chris,
I
like,
see
addressed
both.
it.
Oh,
Oh.
I see both Soren's hand and Deb's, and Soren's his about to go blue. So I'm gonna let him go first, and then Deb, I saw yours. Unless he's frozen again.
He looks frozen again.
Go for it, Deb.
So I like the idea of the new building because being in a commercial kitchen, I think it's super important that you start really well and being clean and being code is going to create success. So I really like that idea. I am a little bit concerned if we take money out of the $6 million that we have, because don't we need that for, next year because our budgets are shrinking? And that
Well,
was putting all
That's just
that.
an idea I had, would do that because I'm gonna be honest with you, we're using 1.2 to cover payroll costs pretty much. And so,
Right.
The board's gonna have to make decisions because we're gonna have to start living with our means, within our means. So that's another conversation. I just threw it out there to say, you're gonna have 4.7 million in your coffers. The board's gonna have to make decisions on priority. Do you want to keep people up spending that money, knowing that it would run out eventually, or do you guys want to invest it in facilities to upgrade what we have? So that's kind of what I was saying, is you guys have to make that decision. I just have to know if you guys decide not to use any of that, I have to be able to go out and look for grants.
Well, I think it's a great idea to do a new building because I think that really does set up our food service to be successful, because I would like to see us preparing nutritious foods ourselves. Eric is perfectly capable of doing that. And so being in that industry, I think that's a really great start point. I do, however, would rather see us go out for grants because I know our budget's shrinking year after year with our kids shrinking. And so I think spending our reserves is a very scary thing to do.
Thank you for that, Deb. I don't see Soren back on here.
Yeah.
The only other thing I wanted to add to that is that in the decision that gets made, so I understand we're gonna give a pathway to move forward, that what the board would like to see to move forward to be able to get that cost, to then be able to see where we go. But I do think this board has a lot of really good questions. I would like to also say that we need to ask for people to speak upon behalf of the board so that they can, if there's a meeting, they can represent us. And then the board would give the person the right to kind of speak for the board. So if we could include that in the direction we give, or if there's people who are willing to volunteer for that, that'd be awesome. We can add that also. Soren, you're back. Are you there?
Ristine, I
Internet is
wonder if
punishing him
Russ,
tonight.
I think Russ had a question too. Russ, did I see your hand up?
Oh, sorry.
when you're searching for
I don't
Soren?
even know how to put my hand
Thank
up, but so Chris answered most of the things I had in my mind about the separate building being available for resiliency. I think if we plan it right, Chris, we could add a space between that play structure and that could be later developed into showers or bathrooms like you talked about, like just have that set so it fits, right? I think that's a good idea. I was going to bring up the fire thing too, because I thought that might implicate us, but otherwise I think the outside building is good. I think it's worth the investment. And I think that covered walkways, what Jamie brought up is what my wife brought up with kids in the school. It'd be really nice when it rains 6 months out of the school year here to have at least one covered walkway from the gym to that building, or so whatever. So these little kids don't have to walk out in the rain, or the high school kids, they don't typically care. But yeah, that's on cost, and that could always be after the fact, just but build it in mind, right? So it's easy to do that. But I think we have to do this. I think with the forward-looking, the way the board is forward-looking at the school, I think this is a no-brainer to do this if we can find the money. So that's all I really want. I'm sorry for the screaming babies. It's bedtime and it's crazy.
Well, and for those that weren't on the meeting earlier, I had made their statement as well, is having a separate building. Russ, I love your idea of the showers. That really, really ties into the resiliency aspect. but it also becomes a slight revenue generator. Not a lot, but it can be rented in the summer or winter break or something for a family Christmas or a graduation party for after graduation or something like that. There can be some revenue generated.
I'm gonna let Soren go. I see him moving around, so I want to let him speak up.
Oh, sorry, I was typing in the chat because I keep losing my connection and I didn't want to miss my chance, so I was just typing it. But I just wanted to make sure we don't get ahead of ourselves with like trying to figure out like how much square feet we're going to build and stuff until we know exactly what we want to do here. Because I had a discussion with Eric this morning where he was like, well, you know, if we're going to make our own bread, you need to store a month's worth of flour because the federal government gives you a month at a time. And if you're not going to, you're going to use refrigerated dough, you store a week at a time, which means refrigeration. And so we kind of need, my idea is like, well, we need to make sure we know what we're doing before we move too far forward. But as far as just figuring out a location, I'm on board with the new building. I mean, it makes sense to just start from scratch. You get what you want, you decide exactly what you want, you build it. Then you're not constrained by any existing things.
Can I
Okay.
ask a question there, actually, really quick? Krista,
Mhm.
is that something that you would then work with, like, if the board said tonight, like, we want to vote on moving towards a path within a new building, is that then that it gives you kind of the bandwidth you need to be like, great, now I know the path that we're going, I
Mhm.
can bring in my staff, and we can start working on numbers and looking at things like that. Is that what you're kind of, is that what happens next in the operational process?
Yeah, because here's the deal. And as much as we want to make it, and we saw this in the CTE building, right? We wanted this great building. We only have so much money. And so we need to bring Eric in to say, hey, Eric, we understand where you're coming from, but we don't have the money to build a 2,500 square foot building. So what can we nip and tuck here and there? And so that's where we need to go. We just need to know, do you guys want us to do the new building or do you want us to continue the renovation piece of it? Chris?
Or both. If the board has an
Or
interest in, yeah, if you really, if folks would like to really see another option develop, the architect will do that. So this isn't meant to say it's either or. It's really, we just wanted to put all the information on the table, and to be very honest with you, I don't think that renovating the existing kitchen has any benefits for the school. I think it'll be more expensive and a less desirable location.
So I think we need to know the direction the board wants to go, and then we would like to ask for 1 or 2 volunteers from the board to attend the meetings. So you can bring information back to the board meetings and be able to have that knowledgeable discussion and go from there. I don't want to go anymore because we start running into the open
Yeah.
meetings law. So if we can, if, you know, you guys can give Chris and I direction, so we can give that to Marlene and Megan. And then if 2 of you want to volunteer to, you know, be available to go to the kitchen concept meetings, that's kind of what we're looking for tonight.
Are
Well,
there
so-
kitchen meetings like they were the other day at 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
Chris, I'm going to let you answer that. That's going to really probably be dependent on everybody's schedules, but Chris.
Yeah, most likely, Deb, they'll be during the day just because of the architect's availability, and eventually get design teams involved. It depends on the day of the week and the time of day. So it could be morning or evening if you wanted to be involved, but say, you know, with the challenges of you know, things going on at the kitchen, better to have it, you know, later in the afternoon. We could try to accommodate that.
If you can do it, I mean, I'm available anytime after 3. I just can't do it before 3. So I'm happy to throw my hat in the ring, but you know, there is going to be that challenge of before 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I would be willing to be on it as well with Deb. I mean, building's one of my fortes, you can tell by my new background. But we could always have it at the cafe, Deb, at 3, you know, in the little glass room, you know. There you go.
So happy to throw my hat in if it could accommodate that kind of schedule. If not, then I won't be able to do it.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do it either way. But again, scheduling's always, when you have jobs, it's, you know. But we're talking about what, Chris? Like how many meetings? Once a
Oh,
month?
I think we're probably talking in the concepts wise, we're probably talking about 2 more meetings and then a report.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in.
I would be
Yeah.
happy to volunteer as well. I think we have a embarrassment of riches here with people that are interested in this. I'm very interested in this idea and really want to be involved, but you know, we got plenty of people that want to be involved and have expertise in the area. So that
Hey, Soren, if you want to do it, I know you got other stuff on your plate. If you want to do it, go ahead, and I will come when I can, because my schedule's a lot less.
we can't have 3 though.
Yeah, you can only do 2.
Yeah.
Oh, because it's a
Yeah.
board.
Yeah, we just, you know, we didn't make any decisions. People listened last time, but I want to make sure we don't put ourselves in a position where we start
Where we're,
deciding
yeah, having
things.
an
Yeah.
official meeting.
Oh,
But you
Oh.
know what you could do is you could have an alternate. You
Yeah,
could, like,
so
if
if, like-
Deb or Russ couldn't make it, like you guys could be like, oh, hey, the meeting's at 2:30, I can't make it. And then it's like, oh, Russ and Soren can, or oh, hey, Russ and Deb can, or you know, and then somebody just bags out for one of the meetings if
I'll be the
that's something.
alternate. I'll be the alternate, and then if Deb can't do it for some reason, hopefully I can. And then maybe if it gets into more like kitchen stuff, Deb can be there, and if it gets into building stuff, I can be there. How about that?
sounds great.
That sounds fair. And if it seems like there's going to be something on the agenda that's right up your alley, I will back away and have you do it instead.
So Chris could just send the meeting out and then
Yeah, send the meeting out
Uh,
with the agenda of what you're going to be talking about, and then Soren and Deb will be the primary. I'll be the alternate. And if it's something I really want to be in, I'll contact Soren or Deb and say, hey, do you mind if I go to this meeting? Because I
Perfect.
really do have a hectic schedule. So I mean, this month's been late, but you know, so that's fine with me. I'll be the
What we-
alternate.
What we typically do, just so you folks know, is we talk to the architect, and our next step will be to say, hey, how soon can you have some concepts ready for a next meeting? And they'll say, great, 2 weeks. And we'll get their availability of a couple of times and days that week. And then we can contact you folks and Krista and pick a time that works. And then you guys can decide who could make that, which 2 of the board members. And then we'll send out the meeting invite from there.
And I hate to
And
put it
then-
on Laura, but Laura can totally be the one that does the communication between the 3, so we don't even violate in that space too.
Yep, perfect.
Sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
And
But
So-
as
All right.
always,
Oh.
we'll be including results from these meetings in our report.
I just really think it has to be a standalone building. I think we all
Mhm.
agree. I think that's the best option, but
So I think this is where we can kind of give that direction too, right? So unless there's other questions, but
yeah.
So I just want to make sure I'm hearing correctly, and so that Chris and I can move forward, that the board wants to move forward with the concept of a standalone building.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Chris, you and I now know kind of where to get Megan.
Great. Thank you, folks.
Yep,
Long as
thank you
it
very
looks
much.
as beautiful
thank
as
you
that
for
CTE
the
building.
information.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry, Russ.
I said, as long as it looks as beautiful as that CTE building.
Oh, that looks so nice. I love those colors. That's my goal to do the.
I mean, the blue roof, you know, the conspiracy theory behind the blue roof is it won't burn with the
Blue
space.
building won't burn.
Won't burn. Didn't burn in Maui, it won't burn.
Okay, good.
All right, so then that finalizes all of our new business, and we don't have any old business. We have no first or second readings. I'm just not going to hold my breath to see that continue. Any board comments?
Deb,
Yes, I have some.
Thank you. Go for
So
it.
I'd like to say thank you to the board for supporting me the last couple of months and checking in with me. Christine, you've been amazing support. I really appreciate it. And I just really appreciate the team that we all are. It's been a couple rough months, but I know now we're all just going to move forward. And I just want to say thank you for the support.
Glad to
Deb,
have you back.
we love you. Our deepest sympathies. I know I've told you personally, but we're here for you and we're glad you're back, but sad for you at the same time.
I appreciate that. Christine, you really did a wonderful job checking out on me often. And I felt the love and the care from you. So thank you very much.
Anything you need.
Well, I could tell you, but it wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
All right. Any other board comments? Thank you so much, Deb.
I just want to make, since the giggies are still, is Crystal on? Are you still there?
He looks like he is.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Hey, listen, I just wanted to say from my perspective, I just so value everything you put out every week, couple weeks, but always before the meeting with the detailed of what's going on, the pictures, everything happening. I drive by it, but you guys are amazing and we really appreciate you and your efforts.
Thank you very much, Russ. You know, that especially since this is our hometown, that's Nancy and I love what we do because we get to work with schools and do this, but especially here. Thank you. That means a lot to us.
We're very blessed to have you guys here.
Right. Yes, thank you. All right, future agenda items. Anything for the good of the order?
So the next meeting will be August.
I think it is August 3rd. That is the second Tuesday at
Okay,
6
August.
p.m.
That's it.
At 6. I will send not a group message, but individual messages. All right, so key dates to that point with Russ, our next board meeting is August 13th at 6 p.m. And our OSBA summer conference is August 9th through the 11th. So that will be a great opportunity to give everybody an update on the 13th.
Do we all get to go?
I'm not attending.
I'm going.
Yay.
Deb, are you gonna go?
I'm not able just yet, but November I'm way more willing.
All right. Well,
Hey guys, I just couldn't do it with my domestic responsibilities this time, but next time. So
sounds good. Winter conference, right?
yeah,
Yep.
I mean, as you saw earlier, it's a lot right now. So thank you, but bring back good information.
We'll try.
We will. All right. Well, with that, we can adjourn this evening at 8:45. Thank you, everybody, and look forward to seeing you all in person next month.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks.